Close your eyes for a second and picture a spy. What do you see? A tuxedo? A martini? A pistol with a suppressor? A perfectly timed explosion behind a slow-motion walk? Hi, this is Dan.
And Tom.
From Cracking the Code of Spy Movies, and today we're diving deep into where spy movies came from, where they are now, and where they're heading next, and why the next great spy movie may not look anything like James Bond. Welcome to License to Change, the future of spy movies. For over 60 years, spy movies have taught us exactly what espionage looks like. Since spy movies debuted for the most part in the 1930s, we have seen the tropes begin and become established. Because the real future of spy movies isn't going to be about faster cars or bigger stunts. Here's the question we're asking today. What happens when the world changes faster than the spy genre can keep up? Wow. It's about surveillance, AI, moral ambiguity, and the world where secrecy itself might be impossible. Yes, you can make entertainment movies with big stunts that are also spy movies, like Mission Impossible. But what are they first? It can be argued that Mission Impossible movies are action-adventure movies with a spy theme. But what will the future hold for real spy movies?
All right, now before we talk about the future, Dan, we need to understand the DNA of the spy movie so we can understand these changes. Spy movies didn't begin as escapism and action-adventure movies. They began as fear movies.
Yeah.
The earliest modern spy movies emerged from the Cold War. The world was split in two, nuclear annihilation felt imminent, and nobody trusted anyone. No country seemed safe, and all seemed very vulnerable. Espionage stories then became a way to process that anxiety. The world was in an anxious way. The Cold War was real, and it generated fear.
Yes.
The James Bond movies by Eon Productions debuted in 1962 with Dr. No and James Bond. Now, Bond, the spy, was exactly what the audiences in the Western world wanted. They wanted someone confident, in control, masculine, Western, determined. He acted of love of country, victorious, of course, and yeah, throw in some sex and romance for fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's important to note here that Bond didn't genuinely reflect reality. He rather reassured us that our side was smarter, cooler, and morally superior. And that is exactly the message the people of the Western world wanted to hear. And audiences, because they were just people immersed in this dangerous new world, flocked to see a hero, someone who could save the day. Now, check this terrific book. It's all about this, The Man Who Saved Britain, by Simon Winder, for an example of this. Fantastic. Now, the Western world felt this. After World War II, the war was not over. As we moved through the 1950s, it became worse because the stakes were now much higher for the world. And at the same time, as a result of what the real world looked like, then and now, a darker counter-genre was forming, a blacker, bleaker view of the world, especially through the lens of a spy. Look at some of the movies. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, 1965. The Ipcress File, same year. Funeral in Berlin, 1966. Eye of the Needle, 1981. Smiley's People, 1982. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, 2011. These stories suggested something more unsettling. That spying wasn't glamorous. That it ruined lives. That there were no clean victories. And that there are multiple sides to the same issue, always.
Yeah, and we just did the episode on the Macintosh Man. It was the same type of thing.
Yeah. And spying isn't about spectacle. That's what we learned from all of this.
Well, but we thought it was. You know, the spectacle always seemed to win because
that's what sold.
Yeah, people wanted to see the spectacle and they wanted to see victory. And they wanted a clear side, the good side, winning. Now, depending on who you are and where you live, the good side might be the other side, but that's a different issue. Yeah. And so for decades, spy movies leaned into gadgets, exotic locations, clear heroes and villains. And the spy wasn't just an intelligent agent. He was a fantasy of control in an uncontrollable world.
That's the key. That's the key.
It's what people wanted to see.
Yeah.
It's who they longed to be. It's who they wanted to see fighting on their side. They wanted somebody invincible, winning, always, and then we get No Time to Die.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But then before that, we get the Bourne shock and the end of this invincibility concept. So in 2002, when that movie came out, everything changed. The Bourne Identity arrived, and suddenly spies could bleed, could be on the run, like bad guys, like the enemy. Jason Bourne, the spy, was confused, traumatized, hunted by his own government, on the run. Not just a rogue thing like we saw in some of the James Bond movies. That rogueness never really was intense. Jason Bourne made it intense. And all of a sudden, we're looking at a whole different spy world here. The camera shook.
I still hate the camera shake.
See, I don't mind the camera shake. Sometimes it's poorly done.
Yeah, for me, they take it over the top.
Yeah. The fights in the Bourne series were messy, very fast action, very unpredictable. The violence had consequences. And this is really a key point. It had consequences. This wasn't a superhero in a tuxedo. This was a man trying to survive systems larger than him, above and beyond what we wanted to see in a spy. But here it was. Bourne really reflected this post 9/11 world and did it brutally, in our face. Chaos out of nothing, distrust in institutions, fear of surveillance, moral uncertainty, fear of attack at any time, anywhere. Scary stuff.
And as Bourne hits this explosion here, what happened to James Bond? Well, his 40 years of screen presence and domination weren't going to be enough. He had to adapt to the customer's changing wants. Daniel Craig's Bond was bruised, emotionally broken. He was deeply fallible and vulnerable. We see the fear now that the Western world wanted to ignore before. Just show us we are winning was our mantra before. It's not the case now.
No. And the James Bond franchise, it did get darker. But even then, the producers, EN Productions, and the writers kept it anchored, though, into the past. One man, one mission, one villain or villainous organization. It was still that kind of thing, not really reflecting the new world.
Yeah, but they had the wrong writers in place.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You didn't mention Purvis Away yet, though.
Well, I'm kind of implying it there.
All right, here's the problem. Modern espionage doesn't work like that anymore. Things are so different today than from what things were a mere 10 or 20 years ago. The world is accelerating to destruction. That's what's really going on today.
Well, now there's a positive thought.
Yeah.
I mean, now, I will give you, in the real world, spying today looks less like a car chase and more like metadata, algorithms, facial recognition, and voice print identification even.
Yeah, I remember 2001: The Space Odyssey. They did voice print identification. We were all thinking, what? 1968 this was? Like, that's not real. Now it is.
Now it is. And we have behavioral prediction and reactionary planning.
Yeah.
So the most powerful intelligence tools don't fire bullets.
Not even rocket-propelled ones, Tom, like we saw in You Only Live Twice.
No, that's true. I mean, intelligence tools collect information and data. And to the public used to high-adventure, high-octane spy movies, this scenario creates a massive storytelling challenge.
Yeah, and that's the key. There's a big challenge now. Really, Tom, let's be honest here. How do you dramatize someone staring at a screen? Now, we've seen spy movies where analysts go out into the field, like Jack Bryan and all those, to get around this kind of thing. But yeah, how do you do that? How do you chase a villain who doesn't physically exist? Servers and data banks might exist somewhere now, and that's different. How do you fight a system that already knows what you'll do next? This is the frightening part of espionage today. He who controls the data and the ability to act on that knowledge will win. That's scary.
Yeah, it's all about the algorithm. And it used to be spy movies were about secrets. Secret plans to capture spaceships or submarines, top secret government plans for weapons development, gaining secrets from the enemy. All of that we've seen time and time again in spy movies. And the underlying theme is always the same. Secrets and gaining access to enemy secrets is the mission.
Yeah, hey, look at From Russia with Love, like the Lecter. Yeah, it all was like that. That's what it was.
That's true. But now we live in an era of constant surveillance, broad social media footprints, voluntary self-exposure through all of the social media apps, public postings and all that.
That's amazing.
Everyone is leaking their own intelligence.
Yes.
Individuals, companies, and even governments. But the attempt is made to keep things secret. It's just harder now than it was before the internet and some of these social media sites.
In the future, spy movies won't ask, can the spy stay hidden? Not that Bond ever did a good job of that, though, but, you know. They'll ask, is privacy even possible? And that's where things will really get interesting, because that's going to be the key question. And that changes the whole spy world.
It really does. And we've already started to see this next evolution of spy movies come out. The villain is no longer always a man or a small organization. It's often a system.
Yeah.
And this is what scares me as a spy movie fan. Now, Dan, you know I have a fairly good grasp on technology, and what we're being shown as plausible isn't very plausible and isn't going to be for a while. Now, the voice print identification from 2001 Space Odyssey, right? You just talked about that.
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time before some of the stuff they're telling us is real has a chance of being real. For example, take a look at that AI abomination in the last two Mission Impossible movies. I mean, for me, it was outright laughable. Could it get there someday? Maybe, but not for a while. At least with Bond, many of the things were plausible, yet unlikely. People don't understand this world of AI, the normal consumer, and so you're going to get stuff initially that doesn't make sense, but over time, it's going to get honed into the spy movie world.
Think about this. AI that predicts crimes before they happen. Corporations with more data than governments in many cases. Intelligence agencies outsourcing decisions to algorithms. Where's the thinking here? Like Bill Gates used to say in meetings. Ooh. Or the field intelligence. Where's that we used to garner? Future spy movies won't be about stopping a bomb. They'll be about stopping the unleashing and the automation of power. And the spy becomes less of an action hero like we see in Bond and more of a saboteur, working in the shadows still, but now in a building, a disruptor inside a machine that can't be flipped or punched. The spy becomes more of an offshoot of this machine, a tool the machine uses. I have the data, I need a human to do something with it kind of thing. That's the future. That's scary.
Well, and you say that's the future, that's also the reality today. If you look at the drones in what the Russians call their, quote, special military operation against Ukraine, you know, that war they're in that's actually lasting longer than Russia was in World War II. Now, the intelligence behind what's going on with these drones, the way they've been adapted from radio controlled to fiber optics controlled to keep prying eyes out of what they're doing. I mean, the spies are the ones gathering the intelligence for how to set up the defensive positions, and the soldiers often become drone operators. We see drones in battle giving us machines against humans.
Yeah.
And this is all the reality, and the spy movie world needs to adapt to it. As you said, the spy is a tool the machine uses to set things up correctly for it to do its jobs.
Yeah.
Drones have AI. They know how and what to attack. They just need the human to get things set up and press the go button.
Yeah. I mean, China is experimenting with human robots who are defending their borders now. This is scary stuff. And yeah, let's get a human involved to kind of carry out what we need to do here. These stories raise uncomfortable questions. If an algorithm makes the quote unquote right decision, is it still moral or immoral? I mean, a human will still need to act on it or press a button to act on it to launch missiles or whatever. But the decision... As of now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the decision might be left to the powerful machines. And it could possibly be totally in the hands of the machines.
Look at the movie War Games from what was that, like in the 1980s?
Yeah. Frightening stuff.
Was that reality? Well, no, actually it wasn't, but it almost caused a war.
Yeah. Even today, if you launch an intercontinental ballistic missile, I think at least as of a few years ago, you could not destroy it in flight. You couldn't change it. Once you launched it, it's gone. And that's scary stuff, too. So is a spy ethical if they manipulate truth instead of revealing it? I mean, this becomes more exasperated in the modern world, though, you know, spies have always manipulated the truth.
Exactly.
When it was to their advantage or to their country's advantage or whatever. But still, It's going to come up more and more. And the big question now is this: what happens when loyalty itself is data driven? This is a scary thought. Yikes. So who gets to be a spy now? The classic spy archetype is male, Western, government-backed, licensed to kill, on the side of the good, and that model is disintegrating before our eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot more women spies, foreign spies, and assassins at spies. I mean, think of Red Notice, Red Sparrow, The Union, The 355, Netflix,
Yeah.
The Citadel, Black Doves. I mean, even the 2005 TV series, The Copenhagen Test. We see in all of these shows that on-screen spying has the spy changing rapidly from what we've historically seen done.
Yeah, and this is movies and TV series and stuff. I mean, in real life, the spy now is going to change, and who can be a spy and what they will be doing. Future spy movies now might be increasingly about whistleblowers. We can see a lot of that today already. Journalists, hackers. Every country is hacking every other country right now. Corporate or government insiders doing stuff. This might be the world the spies in the future in spy movies will live in. People without permission to do what they are about to do is what we're talking about here. We see more and more of that in the real world today, with countries invading other countries, terrorist groups challenging whatever enemy they see as their enemy, secret operations that just happened before anyone even knows about it. All major governments, to one degree or another, are doing this now. And it's not pretty. Often not something to be proud of in the big global picture either.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is the most powerful espionage stories of the future won't ask who has the authority. They'll ask who has access.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the most powerful espionage stories of the future. That's exactly right.
So that opens us up to more diverse protagonists, even more global perspectives, I guess, and stories outside traditional non-state conflicts.
And here's the thing that really gets me. You're going to talk about ethics here, and I can talk about ethics because I have a master's in philosophy. So
Too bad you don't act on them.
I'm qualified. All right. I'm going to talk about situational ethics here. You can guess for sure, and you are probably right, what situational ethics might mean. But situational ethics is a moral framework that posits that the rightness or the wrongness of an action is determined by the specific context or situation rather than by fixed universal moral laws.
Well, you actually said that out loud.
Yeah. I mean, this pretty much opens up any kind of action as right because of the situation. We had to do X because we saw Y and Z, so there was no choice.
Well, think about
Scary.
No Time to Die, the whole Heracles thing, right?
Yeah.
We did X, and then, that got out of our hands, so now we have to do Y.
Yeah.
So the spy movie itself, then, I think, becomes less about patriotism and more about personal ethics. Personal in the sense of a country's ethics.
Could be a country. Yeah.
And the country can do this or that. Will they or not? Is it ethical? It's funny, but situational ethics seem to be the rule now. It's no longer for queen and country.
Yeah, that's the scary part. And once you go down the path of situational ethics, there's no going back. That's the scary thing, because you can do whatever you want and make up excuses as to why you did it. And that's really what situational ethics does. It's a lot easier being situational ethical.
Well, Dan,
than it is
I used to do that when I reported to you all the time.
Yeah, good thing I knew about all that crap. All right. Now, pretty much on a personal level, it's been active. This has been going on a long time. People make up excuses, like we just said, why they act this way or that way. And because, well, for them, given the situation that they were in, they were right to do whatever it was that they did. And governments always have acted like this and will do so even more now, because that is what one government sees other governments doing. They figure, hey, we have the right to do that now too. And they're going to do it more and more.
So if that's happening in the real world, it's going to make creating spy movies much more challenging, because it's how do you set the framework when all of this is going on?
Yeah. I mean, you could already see to some degree or another this quiet revolution happening in spy movies, right? They're becoming more emotional, not melodramatic, but kind of more introspective, challenging the norms.
Wait, No Time to Die wasn't melodramatic?
other than that, that movie is an outlier in lots of ways.
Okay.
Of course, they're all looking at the situation again. Future spy stories will almost be compelled to focus on the psychological cost. Someone makes these decisions based on machine data, maybe, and must now live with them. Look at Harry Truman in World War II, who decided to use the atom bomb. He had to live with that decision the rest of his life, which haunted him one way or another. He's always thought it was the right thing to do, but still, this is what's going to happen in the spy movie. The psychological cost here of making these decisions, new spy movies will have to focus on this aspect. At the moment of decision, that's when they're going to look at it. At the moment of decision. And we will see the conflict and the angst on screen. That's what they're going to be doing. And identity fragmentation, what does that mean? Personal and from a country's point of view, what do you stand for? How do you act in accordance with what you stand for? And is it right? Those are all going to be things that must be in spy movies in the future.
Yeah, and I think as you're seeing that, you've got, I'm doing X, but I can't tell my best friend that I'm doing X. And there's this inner turmoil that is going to have to come out more, because I think spies are going to be even lonelier than what they were before. Think about the movie The Impossible Spy. We did an episode on this.
Yeah, right.
And on that, it's a true story, but he was living in pretty much isolation while trying to be a man of the people.
Yeah.
And the inner conflict there that we see and the loneliness he felt was kind of an interesting twist. And that was based on reality. And I think we're going to see more and more of that as spy movies come forward.
The world we live in now is a pretty crazy world. Politically and as individuals, we are in a nutty world. Individuals constantly perform different versions of themselves online. So you don't know what they are anymore. You don't know who people are anymore. So the spy will have to morph into this metaphor for this modern identity. And that's going to be hard to do and hard to write for. Who are you when every action is tracked? Every lie is recorded. Every past version of you still exists one way or another online. Oh my gosh, this is going to be tough. The most dangerous thing in future spy movies won't be death. Like, oh, Will Bond died. Did he die in no time to die? Who knows? Maybe it's all fictional. It'll be being known too well because of the data that is out there. Because, well, the data, the cameras, the satellites, the intelligence, this permeates everything today. Everything we do, everything we see.
So the problem's going to be being known too well. So we're not going to get any more.
My God, you just killed James Bond.
And where everyone seems to know who he is, and he doesn't stop saying.
Bond. James Bond.
Now, the real question here, Tom, is will James Bond survive the future? You just brought up him saying Bond, James Bond. So what about Bond? Everyone wants to know.
Well, we have to start off with the fact that Amazon now has full control of James Bond.
Sure, everybody knows that.
And we know they paid billions of dollars to get this right.
Yeah.
So they'll want to make money with this latest catalog of content that they acquired, but where they take it in the future.
Not show you, show me the money. Show me the money. Yeah. Louder. Show me the money. That's it, brother, but you got to yell at me. Show me the money. I need to feel you, Jerry. Show me the money.
So that means one thing. James Bond's going to survive somehow.
Yeah. But one of two things will have to happen, or maybe even both. Number one, Amazon will retreat into the past. Bond missions may take place in the 1960s or earlier. They could do that and ignore what Eon did in No Time to Die, at least temporarily. Or two, Bond will continue to change, fit into the modern world as we have described it. He'll be less mythic, more symbolic, like the front man, less about dominance of one spy, more about obsolescence, really, but focusing again on how he fits into a new world as a spy. And future Bond stories are not going to ask, how does he win? They'll ask, what happens when he's no longer needed or his role is diminished? And that's what in the real world we see.
And we've started seeing that, though, and I hope you're wrong
Yes.
that this isn't where everything's going. That sounds like too much of the Purvis and Wade garbage we've been
There you
dealing
go.
with now for 20 years.
All right, Purvis and Wade, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. You're waiting for it. Now you got it. All right. But Bond's greatest enemy in the future may not be a villain, but relevance itself. And this will be a challenge for Amazon. to first understand it and then act intelligently about what they see and understand. Of course, it's Amazon, so they could do both number one and number two, even at the same time if they wanted to, because they'll do whatever the heck they want. After all, this is all fiction, and anything can happen in fiction if you just write it. So anything could happen.
Now, and remember, Amazon doesn't just have to stick to James Bond in the movie theater. We've already seen things like the new video game, 007 First Light,
Yeah.
the James Bond competition on Amazon Prime Video called 007 Road to a Million. We've heard of spin-off pitches such as a Miss Moneypenny series, a Felix Leiter CIA-based show, a possible Young Bond series, and more. So we can tell that Amazon is really trying to figure this out. They're in a tough spot. I mean, Eon Productions really made it tough on them. And if they hadn't done that last movie, it would have been a heck of a lot easier for them.
And I think if it hadn't done the last movie, I think Eon would still be running it. Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now,
Thank you, Daniel Craig.
yeah, and I think part of the problem is that you've got a fan base who's reluctant to accept change, but that fan base is aging.
Yep.
And so they've got to come to some of this other stuff to get a younger audience involved. Because Dan, you and I aren't going to be here forever. No offense, but
Yeah.
you know, at
and
some
Amazon,
point,
and Amazon knows this, and that's why they're doing this. And that's why, to them, it's content. And they have to make money with their content. And they'll do whatever they have to do to make money with the content they bought. Bond. For Eon, it wasn't content. It was a whole family business. Now it's content. And that's another part that is unpredictable with Amazon. All right, here's some of our closing thoughts. The future of spy movies isn't going to be louder. It's going to be smarter. It's going to be darker. It's going to be more unsettling than ever before because we're on this new frontier. And for sure, spy movies are no longer about controlling the world. They're about surviving it. And in the future, where secrets are rare, the most dangerous thing a spy can possess is the ability to choose what not to know. He and the writers must choose correctly.
clearly the future of spy movies isn't going to be about slick gadgets and clear heroes. For one thing, the dramatically escalating budgets to create all of that stuff and all of those action sequences can be a large barrier. And I think we're going to get more into surveillance, manipulation, and the quiet damage done behind the scenes because it's going to be easier to film these and make money off of it. I mean, think about that absolutely wonderful movie from last year, Black Bag. That wasn't a big high action movie, but boy, was it a good spy movie.
It was a good spy movie.
And it was about this, who's got the information.
Yeah,
So the question isn't about whether the genre is going to change. It's whether we, the audience, are ready for spies who look less like the icons that we adore and more like the consequences of what's happening.
Yeah, that's about it. All right. Whew. That's a wrap. This has been Dan
And Tom.
of SpyMovieNavigator.com and our podcast show, Cracking the Code of Spy Movies. Please, your support is key to us continuing to do what we do. So please support us by subscribing to our Cracking the Code of Spy Movies show right now. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it.